Find the derivative of f of t equals cotangent to the fourth of the square root of t. F of t here is a trig function cotangent to the fourth power of the square root of t. Remember that that means to take the cotangent first of the square root of t and then raise the entire thing to the fourth power. Now one more thing, we're going to want to rewrite that square root of t into a fractional exponent to help for the derivative. So that means t to the first power and second root, t to the 1/2, and then the entire thing to the fourth power. Now the fourth power is the outermost function here, so when we take our derivative, we're going to start with that fourth power. F prime of t equals, bring the 4 down, leave the inside alone. That means I'm going to write this version of the inside. It just looks a little nicer. Cotangent of square root of t. Subtract 1 from the power, so that'll give us a 3. But since the inside of that power isn't just a t, but rather an entire expression, we have to take the derivative of the inside. Well, the inside of the power was cotangent. We need to take the derivative of that. The derivative of cotangent is negative cosecant squared of the inside left alone, so that's square root of t, and now we multiply by the derivative of that inside, the derivative of the square root of t. To take the derivative of the square root of t, that's where we have this last version, the t to the 1/2. The derivative will be a power rule, so we'll have a 1/2 t and then raised to the, and we will have 1/2 minus 1, we'll call it 2/2, so we can subtract those fractions. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite this. Everything's multiplying here, so we have a 4, a negative, and a 1/2 that can be moved together. And that'll give us a negative 4 times 1 over a 2. So negative 4 over 2. We have a cotangent cubed of the square root of t. I already have the negative accounted for. It's moved to the front, so I have a cosecant squared of square root of t. I've already moved the 1/2 to the front, so all that I have left is t to the 1 minus 2, which is negative 1 over 2. Now back out front, the 4 and the 2 can cancel down to a negative 2. So my f prime of t now is a negative 2. I have a cotangent cubed of square root of t. I have a cosecant squared of the square root of t. And then I have a t to the negative 1/2. Well, that means to move it to the denominator of the expression and call it positive 1/2. Of course, positive 1/2 means first power and square root, so we can take one more step where we rewrite that. So I'm going to have a negative 2 cotangent cubed of square root of t, cosecant squared of square root of t, and then all of that divided by the square root of t, and that's our derivative f prime of t.